This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Gary Smith.
GPS, how are you? I tried, so that people know, I tried for once to beat Gary onto the Zoom, and I failed again. Did I not, Gary? Even when I came on early?
Well, we appreciate the effort here at the GPS studios. All you can do is try.
I would like to win one of these times. So, it cuts my competitive against my competitive grade. Well, how are you? How are you feeling, by the way?
I'm absolutely exhausted, Mark. I'm about at my breaking point, but here we are, and I'm going to take some much needed leisure time this evening, and hopefully that'll be a good recharge. But back at it for a full day today as you listen on Sunday, and back in court tomorrow on Monday. So it's I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying very much what we're doing, but it's been a long stretch without any time to myself. So yeah. How are you? You've been doing very well in court. It's been a pleasure to sit next to you. I've actually been upgraded. I was sitting a little bit behind you when we started our trial.
I know you're now. In fact, one day you were riding shotgun at counsel table.
I really was. It's very strange. For the last few days, I've been sitting between the two main attorneys, and our client is a couple seats to the right of me. And it feels like the judge is always staring at me because he's presumably looking at you or our other counsel. And it's an odd point of view to view a trial from, something I'm sure most have not experienced.
Well, there was a day this past week where it was just you, me, and the client.
There was. And, there were a few breaks where you stepped out to deal with other business, and it was just me and the client, and he was asking me my opinion, and I was feeling very foolish giving it to him. But, the client asks, I'm not going to ignore him. So what are you going to do?
I will tell you, it's quite a trial from an audio-visual standpoint. It's a murder case, but it seems like everything is filtered through the tapes, the video. I mean, would you agree with that as a relatively new observer of a courtroom trial?
Absolutely. As a complete Luddite, I mean, there is a video of the incident in question, and it was played in the opening for one of the sides, and it has been replayed for virtually every witness that has been called. So I would say that it is a highly audio-visual based medium for this particular trial. And the jurors are viewing it over and over again with different points of view and different commentary. It's very interesting. And I know that's why I'm there.
Interestingly, not just the jury. I mean, the judge, when we were doing motions outside of the presence of the jury, Gary was there playing things in slow motion, and that was impacting rulings and the trial itself. So it's been quite a baptism by fire, I guess, would be the best way to put it, Gary.
Sure. If subsequent cases were to be less strenuous, I would not be mad at that. But I'm also, am gratified to be useful. So I'm all for it. But Mark's right. There was a day this week where we spent about 2 hours outside of the view of the jury, where the judge was standing about 3 feet away from a TV while I played frame by frame, and there were pointers involved, and it was quite something.
Yeah, now I'm really tempted. Do you have that one tape? Let's see if anybody can guess what the trial is when we show the tape. There was I think it was posted in LA Mag, a retail, what do you want to call that?
Kind of smash and grab, I guess, would probably be the best thing.
Right. And so as we're recording this, we have not done the closing argument, but this scene that maybe, and I do this to Gary too often, he had no idea I was going here, but this scene is something that keeps rolling through my head as we've been trying this case.
Damn, for about 30 more seconds. I'm downloading it now.
So that people understand, our client is a security guard who's charged with murder in a store, and there is, in my opinion, and we will argue this, he exercised great restraint, and
for quite a while, I will point out. It wasn't just great restraint for a moment or two. This was, he had quite a bit of time that he had to exercise his restraint.
That's what I was looking for. Flash mob robbery, which, by the way, will be, whether it's video or whether I paint a picture, I think is going to be.
I'll just kill the audio so you can vamp as we play it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, this is down. Where is this?
This is in Anaheim, actually. And that's one of the more interesting things, because there's been a rash of these at 7-Elevens and other retail locations in Los Angeles. But this is the first one that's been down in Orange County. And I would say, as an Orange County resident, that Orange County has less of a tolerance for this than some of Los Angeles County does. Yeah,
and as we're watching it, there are a number of gray sweatshirt, hoodied youth approaching what looks to be the cashier or somebody who works there. Now they're at the counter and they're ripping it off. And there's at least 3 or 4, maybe more people who are, I guess, accurately called a flash mob and engaged in a smash and grab. Now it looks like a lot more.
It looked like 3 or 4 at the beginning. I think in reality it's closer to 15 or 20. And not to correct you, Mark, but you called them youths, and to you and I think they are youths. They're probably in their early 20s or something like that. But it has been pointed out that this
To me, that's a youth.
Yes. No, I'm getting to the point. My mother recently saw me and pointed out how much gray is in my beard, which was fun. But to me, they're youths as well. But one thing that's been pointed out about this is that this differs from the rash of these flash mob smash and grabs in Los Angeles County, in that usually those are juveniles. Those are teenagers and kids, that are under the adult age, at least in the view of the law. Whereas this smash and grab in Anaheim has been mostly adults. And a lot of the pictures have been released by the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and they are very seriously trying to find them and go after them.
Yeah. And interestingly, in our case, this is a 6-year-old case we're talking about. Our incident happened in 2018, prior to the COVID shutdowns, prior to all of the publicity about it. This was kind of the early money of this phenomenon that is now, as you say, crossed into the beyond the orange curtain. Which is,
one time we'll smash it out pretty quick. Thank you. I don't know if you've been down behind the orange curtain, but there are billboards everywhere that basically say you're no longer in LA County. If you commit a crime, we will prosecute you.
Wow. It's no, so I obviously haven't been there for a couple of months. For the trial this week, and I know we've covered it a couple of times, but we're going to segue into the YSL trial.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is I've been practicing for over 40 years. I don't know that I've ever seen a trial quite just as amazing as this one.
Unbelievable, one would say.
Yeah. And then you inject the fact that it's Fani Willis's prosecutorial agency, and that obviously amplifies the attention paid to it. But within the courtroom, well,
we're going to start with this clip. I'm taking some editorial license here. We're going to start with the shorter of our 2 clips, and this will just sort of identify kind of the lunacy that's going on in the courtroom. This is a prosecutor making an argument, and the judge very quickly steps in to point out that maybe they're taking a little bit of artistic license.
And all of these shootings are in response to what happens in February with Wyatt and Lucci getting stabbed.
Is it riddled with bullets?
When you say, excuse me, maybe I shouldn't say riddled with bullets, but there are bullet holes in her vehicle.
How many?
I believe there's one to her vehicle.
Okay. Y'all can no. Just no. We have got to figure out some things that we can do without in this case, and this is one of them.
From riddled with bullets to there are bullet holes, plural, in the vehicle, to the judge pressing her, and I believe there's one.
Yeah. And mind you, is she the third judge in this trial?
Yes, because It's arguable that she's the second, but the first judge had to recuse himself after he tried to jail the defense attorney. Then another judge was appointed, and then it was immediately discovered that she had a conflict of interest, I believe, with one of the bailiffs being a previous bailiff of hers in another court, and she was then dismissed. So yes, this is the third.
Okay. Then we've got one other clip, I think, or we've also got the Fani Willis, another accusation here.
We do. I think we should start with the clip because they're arguing over the email that we have. And then, so let's start with the clip. Nope, that's not the right one. My mistake. I'm very sorry. Here is the other clip that we have right here.
That I had Ms. Percival forward it to.
Nope. I had it in the middle because I was watching it earlier. Here it is from the start. Sorry about that.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I appreciate you forwarding to us the ex parte communications you received from Madam DA Fani Willis. Mm-hmm. Given the sensitivity and the history in this case of ex parte meetings or maybe communications, would you just please request the state? I understand probably what was behind that communications. And of course, it is great for a boss to buck up an underling who has perhaps been attacked or maligned. But I don't believe that, and I don't think the court does either, that the court should have been copied on that communications, especially one that reads maybe more like a campaign ad with a source story in it anyway, I just don't believe it was appropriate. And I would just ask you to please ask the state to halt any future communications ex parte they might want to have with this court. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's a shame that the court would even have to say something like that. But can you all please communicate to everybody in the DA's office to not have any sort of ex parte communications with the court? And y'all may not even know what I'm talking about because I don't think either of you was copied on that email, but Miss Love was. Miss Hilton, you were as well.
I do, Your Honor, and I don't know. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think we have a different perception of direct communication with the court, but we will make sure that
the court was copied on it, and it could have been an accident. But
Your Honor,
it should have been careful.
But the state did not have the initial conversation with the court. That was a community member, and it was very much a reply. Also, was not a direct communication with the court, but we understand the court's perspective. We understand what the court is saying.
Oh, excuse me. I just need to take issue with the fact that it wasn't a direct communication from the court. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Can you hear me now? I didn't mean to act like Max Shart. I take issue with any type of suggestion that this was not a direct communication with the court. It went from Madam DA Fani Willis to this court. It was a direct communication to this court. It was inappropriate. It was praising Georgia's RICO statutes to the court, which again was not appropriate, Your Honor.
Frankly, I think it might be a good idea to print out the email and make it a court's exhibit to this record. But I think what Ms. Hilton was just saying was that the original communication was not from the district attorney's office. The original communication was, I don't know who this person is or where in the world they are, but some member of the world.
I just have to pause there because I think that's so fantastic. Some member of the world.
She's so done with this prosecution team. I can't even tell you. She being the judge. I mean, she is so done. She tries mightily to try to contain herself. It's almost like a struggle. I mean, then you see her go through and trying to watch her language, trying to watch her words, but she's done.
I'm low on sleep, but what was it, last week or possibly the week before, where we saw her admonish the prosecution for about 3 minutes and then put the court into recess because in my view, she was afraid she was going to say something that she thought out loud. I mean, she is just absolutely at her wit's end.
Yeah, she really is.
And here's the email.
You have the email there. Here we go.
So it reads, Miss Love, and this is from Fani Willis to Miss Love, who is one of the prosecutors, I believe the one who was speaking to the judge there, saying that they have a different view. It says, please ignore this foolishness, which right there just sounds like straight out of Joe Biden's mouth. I think that's a hilarious line. As you know, the elected district attorney is extremely proud of you and believes you to be a huge asset to this office and to our community. You have no chance of losing your job, and your service is greatly appreciated. Folks who have never tried cases will always have nasty things to say, but while they criticize from the sidelines, they fear the arena. They are not risking life and limb to keep our community safe. Let me tell you, as an anecdote of encouragement, that this morning a good friend of mine called this weekend and said that in an Uber, the Uber driver randomly began talking about being from Memphis and said how much violence there was in Memphis. She said the Uber driver said in Memphis they do not have the ability to do RICO. He said that I am so proud of our DA here in Atlanta and her YSL team. They are not afraid and they are fighting for justice. Let's see. They're not afraid. They're fighting for justice. Let this random anecdote encourage you to brush off your shoulders and keep your eye on the prize, which will always be justice. Please know that your boss gets 100 nasty messages and 100 nice messages a day. I focus on one thing every day, representing my community in a way that is fair. And I am asking you to continue to focus on justice and ignore the haters. I am extremely proud of you. Now go make it an amazing day. Yours in service, Fani T. Willis. And apparently that was sent to the court.
Yeah, that was sent to the court, right? After the court had excoriated the deputy.
Yes.
And the response by the boss after the deputy gets excoriated is to copy the judge on an email praising and bucking up and ratifying the deputy's behavior. Do I have that right?
You do, and I shudder to think what would happen if I were to send a similar email to you and copy the judge. I don't think I'd be sitting here for reasonable doubt next week, to say the least.
Why don't we leave it on that note? Because I don't know that we can exceed just the hubris that is what we just saw. I mean, you have to understand something. The person was upbraided in court. The line prosecutor, the trial lawyer, was upbraided in court. The boss's response is to then send an email, which is an ex parte communication. Why, Gary? Because the defense is not on it.
The first time that's happened in the case. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Oh, wait. That's why the previous judge was eliminated. And she asked.
Well, I have lost you for some reason. If you are still there, I am temporarily not getting your audio. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it up. Let's see here. My internet connection is unstable, so that's not cool. Mark, because I can no longer hear you, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and say thank you very much for your time. I hope you can still hear me. We will be back next Sunday, and maybe we will have an update on our trial, which may or may not be finished by the time we record next. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm very sorry for my unstable internet connection. We will see you all next week.
Thanks for listening to Reasonable Doubt. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Reasonable Doubt Podcast.